Hello and welcome everyone to the Elite Racer Series once again, race number 8 of Season 2. We are here at Gateway for the 8th race of the season, and I believe it is the last race before we get to a little bit of a break for Memorial Day weekend. So these drivers are going to want to go off onto that break on the right foot. So after 8 races in the Elite Racer Series so far this season, through those first 7 races, the point standings, you have Dirty Boy on top by 9 over KD, who won last race at Watkins Glen, gained some points. Arrow and Brendan not that far behind. Workman is still 5th in points, however, he is not going to be racing until August, so he is going to drop down in points. Just below him, Tango, LT, Big Jim, AJ, and along with some others that are a little bit further down, trying to make up some spots here in points. But with this being a very, very tough track, this is going to be one where it's a driver's racetrack for the, I believe it's called Byron Sucks 100 at Gateway. So we'll see how these drivers do in the Elite Racer Series. Going to see who's on pole here in just a little bit. Pole position for this race goes to KD, so not surprising there for KD to get pole very, very fast. Big Jim will start second. Starting in third, it is Brennan. In fourth, it's BKR. And rounding out the top 5, Dirty Boy in the 10. Looks like there's going to be about 11 drivers to race in this one. Whoever I can't see on the screen is starting in 6th. Starting 7th, it's Koala. Then 8th place, it's Alan. 9th, it's AJ. 10th is Tango, 11th is Jesse. So whoever is starting 6th is the one driver I'm not able to name that is racing out there, and they finished last in qualifying but had the 6th best time. So this is the 8th race, but it's the 2nd race of the Tough Track Challenge, that few race kind of season in between the full season. This Tough Track Challenge, Dover was the first one, Gateway, and then we'll have Darlington as well. Those are all right before we get to the postseason, and whoever receives the most points in these 4 races of Dover, Gateway, Mid-Ohio, and Darlington will get a 10-point bonus at the start of the chase. After Dover, it was Tango on top because he won. Workman second, BKR, Big Jim allowing some others. So it's going to be fun to see if Tango can try and keep that. Obviously, won Dover based on fuel mileage and a little bit of a prayer. So we'll have to see if he can try and do some more strategy, if he can try and get some speed here at Gateway to get up there at the front. 100 laps, so it's going to be a quick one here at Gateway. Once again, that midway yellow at lap number 50, and manual yellows at some point during the race, possibly if they have a 2 or more car crash. And looking through the race rules and stuff for this, trying to see how many laps it would be for smaller tracks. I would assume they count this as a short track, so no cautions for the first 5 laps after a restart. So for the first 5 laps of this race, we will not get any manuals. After the midway yellow, 5 laps, no yellows until we clear that mark. So keep that in mind. 11 drivers, though. I don't expect there to be too many manual yellows in this one, so we'll just have to see how it goes. We're ticking down to where I can join in, and we can get to the racetrack, and we can see it's Arrow starting in 6th. That's another one that has been pretty good so far this season. So just wait to get in here, and we'll go from Gateway. Fun racetrack. Also, not only is it a tough racetrack, but it's a tough pit road. It's one of the few racetracks where you're going to have to use the access road to both enter and leave. There's an access road to get onto pit road, and also an access off of pit road. So that's going to be a challenge for these drivers, especially if you're on worn tires. I'm assuming this race is going to stay green for the most part, so you're going to have to make some green flag pit stops. It is a very tough pit road to get onto and off of on those worn tires. So if you have to go the whole distance under green and you're on worn tires, that's going to be a hard one. And if you don't do it right, if you gain an advantage by doing that, you can get a 4-second time penalty, depending on how many times you've cut it. If you've just done 1 section of it, that's only 4 seconds. But if you've done 2 sections, that's going to be 8 seconds. So that could definitely add up as we are green flag racing here at Gateway. KD leads them to turn 1 from pole position to his outside. A nice restart for Big Jim. Actually pulls ahead of the 18 through turns 1 and 2. Let's see if he can try and make it stick on the exit of turn 2 down the backstretch. Tight corner there as they come off of it. And you can see right there, the 3 may bounce off the wall because of the 18. You just get tight off turn number 2. You try and stay in the gas. There's a car on your outside. You might put them into the outside safer barrier. And Big Jim did not hit it, but he was very close. Brendan moves up to second off that. 4 wide further back as 3 and 4 getting the brakes. Along with run 2, you can really start to send some people with that lag bubble. So you're going to watch out for some net code throughout the race. And you're going to enter a corner behind someone you might want to try and lift a little bit earlier. It looked like Big Jim dove it in on Brennan, looking to try and get second back. BKR follows through to get up to third. Brennan now under fire from Dirty Boy for fourth. As BKR does move to third, Dirty Boy will get to fourth, and Brennan now back to fifth in the 9 car. Right behind Brendan, I think that's Koala. You have Arrow trying to work his way up in the 48 to his inside. Looks like there's maybe some contact there. That is Jesse, who started last in this race. He made some nice moves. The 48 gets into the wall. Did a great job saving that car, keeping it going straight right in front of Jesse. As it's still KD leading in the 18, but Big Jim trying to hunt him down. Big Jim on that wheel. This might be a track where that wheel could come into play, so we'll have to see if Big Jim can try and perform well here at Gateway in the Byron Sucks 100. The battle for second, actually, BKR is going to dive inside in the 11, looking on Big Jim in the 3. And BKR moves up to second place in the 11 car. Big Jim and LT, the only 2 multi-time winners this season. LT not in the race. Big Jim is in the 3, looking for his 3rd win of the season. Meanwhile, BKR, I don't believe, has won this season in the 11, so he'd love to get one. He's right behind KD, currently second in points, only 9 behind Dirty Boy, so KD really wants to try and get some laps led here, get some good points in this race, finish out Dirty Boy to try and move up into that points lead. Once again, only 9 points separate the front 2 in the points. Speaking of the front 2 in points, our points there, Dirty Boy right now in 4th, but being challenged by 2 Chevrolets right behind. That's Brennan right on his bumper, and Koala not that far back in the 24 as well, so Dirty Boy feeling the pressure. BKR also putting the pressure up onto the 18 of KD. This BKR right now in second, was right in the bumper entering turn 1. KD a better exit of turn 2 though, gets off the corner nice, and they'll carry him all the way down the backstretch. Big Jim also hanging tough there in 3rd, so these 3, they're trying to pull a little bit of a gap on 4th place Dirty Boy, 5th place Brennan, as Dirty Boy looks like he might be fading a little bit in the 10. Brennan looks like he might just be a little faster at this point in time, and maybe he might be just fast the front 3, but with him being stuck behind the 10 right now, it's allowing those front 3 to get away a little bit, but maybe Dirty Boy's car set up more for the long run rather than the short run. Only 5 laps into this run, and 50 laps in this first half. So have to see how it goes here. They're still going to have to go 45 laps. Might not be 45 laps on tires and fuel, but you have to go 45 laps in this as the 48. Either he did not on purpose or he fell asleep on the straightaway, but kind of swerved off over into where that opening is. I think he maybe did it on purpose, trying to scare Tango behind him a little bit possibly. But Brendan might be getting impatient with Dirty Boy right here. That 9 right up onto the back of the 10. Still trying to find a way around, but at this stage, Dirty Boy doing a great job pulling him off, keeping that lead for now. Big Jim in 3rd, right behind the 11. The 18 actually losing some ground there through 1 and 2. BKR got a nice launch with KD off the corner. They pulled the 3 a little bit right there on the straightaway. KD through 3 and 4 nicely. See BKR a little bit wider. Maybe that 11 just about half a lane wider, trying to get better launch off the corner. They're trying to do different things here to try and find a way around that race leader KD. BKR to the back bumper. Dirty Boy gaining on Big Jim, so maybe the 3 starting to fade. The 10 maybe come to life a little bit here. We'll see how it looks. If BKR is looking out on KD here and looking out again as they enter turn number 3. Izzy to the inside. He'll drive it into the corner deep. BKR on the inside, KD on the outside. And it looks like BKR coming off turn number 4 will clear clear KD. BKR moves out in front. First lead change in the night here in Gateway. KD now in line in second, looking for a way to get back to that 11 who goes a little bit wider. So BKR run a little bit of a different lane, trying to get maybe a straighter shot off. KD in second, the battle for third. Big Jim might be stacking up Dirty Boy and Brennan a little bit as Brennan looks out on Dirty Boy, but doesn't have the legs at the end of the straightaway to make that work. They've left Koala and Arrow, who are right now 6th and 7th. 8th place is Tango. He just got a spot back there. Trying to see who he passed. It was AJ. So move Tango up to 8th. AJ to 9th. 10th place, you have Alan. And 11th place, Jesse. Looks like in that number 15. So now it'll be interesting. Can BKR try and pull away in the 11? He was kind of hounding KD for a few laps there. Can he try and break away from that pack as Dirty Boy lagged a little bit right there in turn number 3? I'm sure Brennan saw that, maybe got alerted a little bit right there and jumped up a little bit, but luckily for Brennan, Dirty Boy didn't lag too terribly bad, and they're all still going straight. These 5 cars, they're really kind of equal at this stage. BKR is kind of pulling the gap, but he's not really pulling away from the rest. These front 5 are within about a second of each other or so. So I would say maybe about 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 seconds separate the front 5, but that's not really a lot of time at a track like Gateway. So these front 5 being like this, Brennan got the safe barrier a little bit there, coming off turn number 4. That's right where the safer barrier ends. There's also a point down in turn number 1 where that safer barrier begins, where if people get too wide into that, they can, you know, if they're trying to get too good of an arc into the corner, they can hit that. And obviously come off turn number 4, you're in the gas hard trying to make it work, and you might just clip where that safer barrier ends. So watch out for that throughout this race. That could definitely lead to those crashes we were talking about. Once again, those front 3 have kind of left 4th and 5th. Dirty Boy's kind of fallen off in the 10. BKR doing a nice job in the 11 out in front. KD hanging with him. Big Jim hanging with him. He had kind of had a few laps where he'd fallen off, but now he's found that rhythm back in the 3 car, starting to gain a little bit back. But Dirty Boy in 4th has fallen off a little bit again, along with Brennan in the 9. So just wondering, you know, what that was. We saw the 10 falling off and then gained it back, but then fell off again. It's a little bit interesting as we saw back there. A slide out of AJ. He's going to let Allen go on by. So the 88 through to, I believe that's 9th. The 54 back to 10th. And still the 15 in the 11th position. This battle for the lead. Still 3 cars under a blanket. They've now left Dirty Boy by about a second. So Dirty Boy and Brennan starting to fall back. It was originally the front 5 within a second and a quarter. But now the front 3 have gapped the rest of the field by a second and a half or more. KD did better launch off turn 2. BKR a little bit of a defensive line down the back to turn 3, running a lane lower, showing KD the outside and saying that you're going to have to pass me or not letting you get the bottom. BKR a little bit better through 3. We'll see if KD gets the run off 4, but I believe that 11 just better through 3 and 4 that time by. And the ground KD gained in 1 and 2. He lost it through 3 and 4. They gained it back at the end of the straightaway, so obviously a great exit for KD, but these straightaways aren't very long, so you can't really gain it fully back. And again, better through 1 and 2 for KD as the 11 slides up. KD could not take advantage, though, in the 18. Stays in second, and they're still leaving those drivers behind. So these 3 right now look like they're going to be the class, the 11, the 18, the 3. That's 3 drivers that are definitely very, very good anywhere they go. You can, you know, put these 3 at the top of the list at any racetrack, and they normally finish up there, bar a few racetracks for them. Maybe there are some they don't like, but at most racetracks, these 3, BKR, KD, Big Jim, they'd be ones to watch out for to get top 3, top 5, and even wins. So it's no shock to me that these 3 right now are running at the front, but I think we could definitely see some others move up after some adjustments. Maybe Dirty Boy breaded. They're close. They're not that far off, but they are just far enough off to where they're losing just a 10th or 2 every lap, and Dirty Boy now over a second and a half back of Big Jim. That would be over 2 seconds back of BKR at this point. So they've fallen a little bit. They were all within the same second of each other a few laps ago. But now they're starting to fade back as Big Jim, with 84 to go, has 22 laps of fuel. That will take you to about 62 to go. So that will be interesting to see. If you can go to 62 to go, that is a good ways on fuel, 38 laps. But then you have 12 laps until the halfway yellow. Would some people dare put 2 tires on to try and get some track position? Obviously, with these front 3 being a good ways out, I don't know if it would work terribly well. I don't know if I would try it. You know, if it was a little bit of a shorter run to the midway yellow, maybe I would try those 2 tires. But 12 laps is just, it seems like a good ways for me, and I don't know if I'd want to be doing that. But some people out here, they might be trying it. You never know. Tango might try and save the 12 laps. I don't think he is, but considering he's running pretty strong, but you never know. You never know what Tango's doing. He could have already saved the 12 laps. He could be going going strong now. But back there, that battle for fourth, it's still not going away. Brennan's not giving up on Dirty Boy. They're right now fourth and fifth. They've been this way for 10, 15 laps, so ever since the start of the race, they've been kind of like this fourth and fifth. And Arrow in sixth is close in just a little bit. Brennan to the inside, some contact made for this fourth spot. Brennan and Dirty Boy wheel to wheel, door to door off turn number 4. Down the front stretch, we have Tango into pit road, so he's going to actually undercut here. So that is Tango's kind of philosophy. If he can't try and extend it out to where he can make it, he's going to be the one to pit the soonest. That's what Tango just did right there. As Brennan does complete the pass for fourth. So the 9 up to P4. Does he pull away from the 10 now? Or does Dirty Boy stay with him? That's going to be something we'll watch out for in the next few laps. But as I mentioned, Tango is into pit road. He's leaving, he's leaving now in the 90. He's got 1 lap down, looking to go a 2nd lap down right here as he enters now onto that access road. Very treacherous here on fresh tires though, so he should be good to go. He'll stay on the concrete. There goes the 11 and the others coming up to speed on his outside. They'll put Tango a 2nd lap down. However, the 90 on fresh rubber should be able to get back around them in a good amount of time. I doubt it would take too long for Tango to get up in front of these 3. And I'm sure once he gets up to the back bumper of Big Jim, he'll move aside. Once he gets up to the back bumper of KD, he'll move aside. And obviously the same will be said for BKR, I have to assume. We have another car coming off pit road. It looks like a blue car. Trying to see who that possibly is, as we have Dirty Boy onto pit road. So these drivers are pinned. Koala has come off pit road. He'll stay 1 lap down, but he's on the tail end of a 2nd. So these drivers are pitting 20 laps into the run or so. So they're, 20 laps. You can go from there to the end of this first segment. So this is not really splitting in half. It's a little bit of an undercut for these drivers that have pitted. Splitting in half would be about 25 laps. You go 25, 27 laps. That would be splitting it in half. As you can see, Tango is already disposed of Big Jim, looking to get by KD, and then BKR. KD gives him the inside, kind of lagged a little bit there, I think, in the 18, kind of chomped off the 90. Gets a good run off turn 2, but BKR doing a nice job staying out in front. KD has been on his back bumper for 10 laps or so now, and that's the pressure that gets applied. BKR has not put a wheel wrong so far, so he's done a great job. Tango still looking to get by this 18-11. KD will take it to the inside to let Tango move on by. So Tango now only has BKR ahead of him to then get back onto 1 lap down. As Tango is currently 2 laps down, he wants that 1 lap back to at least get down to 1 lap down in case the yellow comes out. He can take the wave around. I believe Dirty Boy's also come off pit road in the 10. There he is on the front stretch. So if he's on the front stretch and Tango's like in turn 3, I know he had a big gap, but how big of a gap do they have over Koala? Was it really that big is the question. As Arrow will hit pits in the 48. Just about splitting it in half, so 48 to pit road. Now, I'll be interested to see which of these front 3 runners are the first to hit pit roads. KD moved back around Tango. But of the 11, the 18, the 3, which of these 3 wants to come down pit road first to try and get the tires? You come down pit road first, you might be able to leap the 18, or if you're the 3, you might be able to leap both of them. If you're the 18, you might be able to leap the 11. So I think if you're definitely BKR, you don't pit first of these 3. You react to what the others do behind. Once the 18, the 3 pits, you pit then the next lap. As Tango still stuck behind these guys. See the 48, I believe that was the 88 both on pit road getting service. AJ coming to pit road. There's Allen. There's Arrow. He's leaving now. Let's see what these front 3 do. They're about midway through it. They're going to be about 13 laps until they'll be forced to pit for fuel. They might be even sooner for tires, as that right rear on Big Jim's is down to 29%, and with still 13 laps to go. I don't know if he's going to be able to ride that all the way out, so I'd have to assume that they're going to be pitting sooner. As there might be a battle for 2nd heating up. Big Jim to the back bumper of KD. Looks to have maybe faded a little bit here, and Tango, even though he has fresher tires and he looks to be maybe faster than these drivers, respecting these front 2 that are up right now running 2nd and 3rd, not interfering with their battle, even though he could technically. He could interfere with their battle because he has fresher tires. He wants to try and get that one of those laps back, but kudos to Tango for staying right behind them, not pushing the issue. And if they let him go, maybe he'll take those spots. Otherwise, he's just going to stay behind these 2 for now and wait for them to pit. Big Jim might be giving the inside to Tango and trying to tell Tango to go on by. You're faster. You have fresher tires. I want you to get out from behind me. AJ coming off of pit road with fresher tires as well as these front three. They've now passed to where you'd be splitting it in half, so they're going to be going, it looks like, as long as they possibly can. I want to see what Brennan's doing. He's now on pit road, so that was something I was interested. When was Brennan going to pit? Now is the time for that 9. So he's got to pit in about, maybe 6, 7, 8 laps anyway, so why not do it now? But still that 11 leading. Katie right now in second. Big Jim still in third, but letting drivers on fresh stuff go on by. AJ and Tango, the two of them that have moved around that 3 car. Big Jim starting to fade off. And if I'm Big Jim, maybe would have wanted to pit at some point sooner. Looks like that car may be fading off a little bit. And obviously have to let those faster cars go that are on tires. I would have maybe pitted there. See AJ and Tango, they both got by KD, and Tango now going high to give AJ the inside. The 54 really coming on those tires. He obviously has some of the freshest out there on the racetrack because he pitted just about 2-3 laps ago. As it looks like the 11 BKR might make a move to pit road right here. He's going to let the 54 go. And he's not pitting, so he lets the 54 and the 90 go. It's kind of interesting there. I thought he would wait until the front stretch to do that, but he lets AJ go. Tangle's not able to get through. If anything, he's kind of holding up KD and Big Jim back there as KD moves back to his inside. BKR moving out of line on the front stretch, letting the 18 and the 3 go. So that's interesting there. BKR from the lead lets KD and Big Jim go to first and second. BKR now back to third. I don't know what the play was on that for the 11. Maybe he's pitting this time, but yeah, he's not pitting, so I don't know what that play was. And even if he was pitting, at most racetracks you're pitting, you'd want to move to the back of the pack that you're pitting from, just so that you don't have to pit from the front and have everyone go high and risk a collision. Here at Gateway, you don't really have to do that because there's an access road. You pull off to the bottom of the racetrack in turn 3. It's not like you're standing on the racetrack and you have to pit from the middle of 3 and 4. You're pitting from the entrance of turn 3, get onto that access road. Is Big Jim possibly pitting this time, or did he get loose? We'll have to see right here as we enter turn 3. Big Jim is going to take the access road, it looks like. So here we go. First of the front 3 to come in. It's Big Jim. He's had enough. He's in the pit road, onto that access road, doing a great job in that 3 car, staying on the asphalt there, not getting off. And there's the entrance to pit road. Sometimes it's hard to see where that is, as there's no line. It's really just the start of that inside wall. That's where pit road kind of is. Kind of see the tire barrier over there. So now with Big Jim in, when do the 11 and the 18 respond? Looks like KD wants to do it this lap. So KD will pit this lap. BKR staying out another lap in the 11. I do want to point out, as I mentioned, pit road speed isn't measured until right about there. That inside wall where that tire barrier starts, that's basically where it is, where that wall kind of juts out. It's not the wall that separates pit road from the racing surface. It's the wall that separates the infield from pit road. That's the wall where it's kind of measured off of. You kind of look to that where it kind of kinks out with those tire barriers. That's where pit road speed starts to get measured at, rather than a line that's painted across the track. I don't know why. So Katie's in. You can only, BKR's coming in this time in the 11. So, but right here, here's where pit road's measured. Not there, but about right there. That's where you want to try and get down to pit road speed. So in front 3 of pit, that's basically about everyone that's pitted now. So I have to see where the 3 and the 18 cycle around. Obviously, Katie pitting a lap later than Big Jim. Does the 3 leap the 18? There's Katie leaving. There's Big Jim on the racetrack, up to speed in the 3 car. Right with Dirty Boy, who remember pitted very, very soon in the 10. Katie able to keep the lead in the 18. Dirty Boy pitted very, very soon. Tango spun around. Entrance of 3. Only 1 car, it looks like, so it won't be a yellow flag. Dirty Boy in the worn tires lets Big Jim go. So for Dirty Boy, pitting that much sooner definitely helps in the short run. But now, once we get a little bit later into this run, it's going to hurt him in the 10 car. There's BKR leaving. He came in 3rd of the front 3. A lap later than Katie, 2 laps later than Big Jim. He's going to come out behind both those drivers, behind the 10 as well, maybe behind the 9 and the 48. So a good leap for the 9 of Brendan and the 48 of Arrow, as well as there is BKR coming off side by side with Brendan. Brendan will clear him now. He's in a fight with Arrow, as Big Jim looks for the lead on Katie. So that lap worse tires than Big Jim, not affected on Big Jim out in front for the first time today here in Gateway. That honestly shocked me. I thought Katie was going to come off pit road, just be able to keep that lead, maybe pull away, but Big Jim putting up a fight in the 3 car. Big Jim, Katie, they pull away a little bit as BKR on the fresh rubber, tries to gain. He moves up to 3rd by Dirty Boy. Brennan under fire from Arrow as Arrow moves inside the 9. Right in front of them, it's Dirty Boy in the 10, who is on significantly worse tires than anyone around him. Of these drivers, obviously BKR on the best, then you have Katie, then you have Big Jim, Brennan on the 4th best tires, Arrow on the 5th best, and Dirty Boy obviously on the worst. He pitted with about 30 laps to go until midway, that midway yellow. So he has to go 30 laps. He went 20 on the initial set. With 14 to go until we get to that yellow flag. These drivers obviously may just want to be chilling out this stage. They're just trying to fall into where they're going to be. Obviously, once again, no points awarded for midway, leading at midway, or being anywhere at the front at midway, but it's just a reset yellow. And if you're Jesse, you're going to want to try and maybe fight off the 3 a little bit, as you have Koala on pit road, so it may have been the 24 has lagged out at this stage in the race. But if you're Jesse, the next lap car is up. You're on the front stretch now. The next lap car is about a half a lap ahead. So I don't know if they'll catch him in 13 laps. Jesse's going to move out of the way. Class act there. I believe the next lap car might be AJ. But with Tango now being a lap down, both Jesse as well, that's going to trap Tango a lap down. Jesse will be getting the free pass at the moment. That's also assuming that AJ keeps it on the lead lap. There's AJ. He is the last car on the lead lap, currently scored in what looks to be the 9th position, with Tango being a lap down in the 90 after wrecking, along with, obviously, then Jesse, who just got lapped. Here's a battle. Arrow, Brennan, Dirty Boy. Battle for 4th. It's a 3-way race. All cars under a blanket right here. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th. All of which on significantly worse tires than the front 3. Brennan on the best tires, and these 3 look to shoot the middle. Thought better of it as the gap closed up. Arrow clears Dirty Boy. Once again, Arrow on better tires than Dirty Boy. Dirty Boy on the worst tires of these 3. This battle now puts Dirty Boy back to 6th. Brennan looking for 4th on Arrow, who's able to maintain for now in the 48. Dirty Boy right behind the 9. There's BKR. Just kind of fading off of the 3 and the 18 as Big Jim still leads. KD in 2nd, and Big Jim's actually being able to extend that gap off of KD. So that's honestly a little surprising that Big Jim has actually extended off of KD. I thought they were very equal in terms of speed, but maybe Big Jim made some adjustments that, you know, his car liked that, or he figured out a lane to drive this track at. But whatever it is, Big Jim has flown away from KD and has about a second or so over with 10 laps to go until we get to midway. So Big Jim looking for his 3rd win of the season. Be kind of different form though. At Michigan and Charlotte, it was a late race battle with Workman, in which he was able to beat the 20 to the start finish line both times to win it. And this time no Workman in the field, no 20 car in the field, so if he were to do it, he would have to do it in a different fashion than what he's done this season. Maybe he could do it with KD or BKR, who have been pretty fast along with the 3 cars so far here tonight. And who knows, at this at this midway yellow, you could possibly get some drivers like the 9 of Brennan, who moves into 4th, Arrow in 5th, and even Dirty Boy in 6th. They have pretty good race cars. We'll have to see if they can try and do anything on this midway yellow when we all get kind of cluttered up and go again, if they can try and do anything on this restart. BKR actually running down KD a little bit. As at 18, I don't know if he made some adjustments that he has not liked. Maybe he's made some adjustments from the longer run, but the 18's kind of fade off the 3 a little bit, and the 11's close in a little bit. I know the 11 has 1 lap fresher tires than the 18, but the 18 has a lap fresher tires than the 3, so he should be, in that theory, closing in, as he has now a 2.5 seconds up to Big Jim, and BKR is only a 2nd behind KD, so I mean, the gap is closing for sure for 2nd, but it's opening for the race there. Big Jim, he's pulled away to a 2.5 seconds gap over that number 18. With 7 laps to go until we get to halfway. And Brennan's pulling away from Arrows, pulling away from Dirty Boy there right now, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Just trying to stretch this out until we get to the yellow flag. As we'll get to the yellow, the field will all restart together, and we'll go again. There's Allen in the 88. Hasn't had a great start, but looking to try and pounce. There's AJ, last car in the lead lap. Tango currently, I believe, in last place, 1 lap down. Jesse is the first driver that is a lap down, but he's hoping that Big Jim does not catch the 54 at the rate he's catching them. There's the 54. There's the leaders, about half a straightaway behind. So if you're Jesse, you are AJ's biggest fan right now. You are cheering on that 54 to stay on the lead lap so that the 15 can try and get the free pass and get back into this. And I believe there's about 5 laps to go, so AJ's going to have to give it his all here in the 54 to try and stay on the lead lap. Thanks to Big Jim. He is gaining every lap onto that 54. 5 to go. It's going to be close. The gap for second hasn't really closed in. Still a second. They have 5 seconds over fourth on back, so those front three still the class of the field at this point. We're focusing on AJ once again because he is the last car on the lead lap. There are currently 2 cars already 1 lap in the rear. That is the 15 of Jesse, the 90 of Tango. Jesse right now in the free pass position, so praying that that 54 stays on the lead lap. But with 4 to go, Big Jim getting big in that mirror. And I mean, I know for AJ it doesn't really affect him because he'd get the free pass. He'd still be on the lead lap anyway. But I mean, it affects Jesse and it affects Tango. So we'll have to see. 3 to go at the line until we get to the midway yellow. It's assuming they call it at midway. In races past, they've called it the lap before midway so that they pit at the midway point. So I'll have to see if they call it at midway or if they call it 1 lap before midway in this race. So assuming the caution comes out at midway, it would be 3 to go. Otherwise, this would be 2 to go. Big Jim has about 2 seconds over Katie. The question is, does he hold off and stay behind the 54 to keep AJ on the lead lap? Does he have the gap to do that? Or does he move around him as quick as he can? We're about to find out as we're coming around to 52 laps to go in the race, but only a few laps to go until we get to the midway yellow. AJ might just move out right here. He does. So AJ moves out. He goes a lap down. Now he's in the free pass position. So by letting Big Jim go, now Jesse and Tango are both going to be trapped a lap down. Jesse especially, who's in the free pass position up until this point right here. So that is big for Jesse's race. Obviously, you don't want to see that. I had thought when he had let the leaders go that he had a pretty good, he had a pretty good margin to try and stay that lucky dog because the 54 had about half a track, but that 3 is just so strong. He's pulled away by Katie by 2 seconds now, and B-Car by 3.5. Brennan's now 9 seconds back as Big Jim will take the yellow flag right there. So there is the midway yellow, 51 laps to go. And now the field gets re-racked. Pit stops will occur. And then we're going to have a choose cone and a restart. AJ gets the free pass and gets the lap back. So this midway yellow brought to you by our partners, Double G Construction and Roofing and Richmar Florist. They've done great for this league, and we're proud to have them on board in what has been some great racing this season. Double G Construction and Roofing has been here since the start. Richmar Florist just joined on the last few races, so great to have both of them with us, and hope they're enjoying what they're seeing. As the 3 lead the field onto pit road, I have to wonder, the 15 and the 90, are they staying out because they're lap down cars and they have to pit next time, or are they going to be taking the wave around? Maybe they're going to try and take the wave around. They're going to have to pit twice, though, if they take the wave around. They might just be hoping for some quick yellow to come out. The field's on pit road. I don't think anyone sped. We saw that, obviously, controversy at Charlotte just a few races ago, where Big Jim was the one to hit Workman on the pit road, spin him on the pit road, and we also saw some people speed in that race as well. So everyone looking to be clean onto pit road here. Big Jim, I think he maybe tightened the car up a little bit. He knew that was going to be a little bit of a shorter run, so he kind of loosened up. So maybe that was the adjustment the 3 made that was better, as it's going to be a 16-3 in the stop. That is not what Big Jim wanted to see at all. We'll have to see if the 18 and the 11 in them have a better pit stop if they beat the 3 out, and KD will. So KD, obviously a better pit stop than Big Jim, who had a 16-3. The 18 will be able to lead here on the restart. A great stop for the 18 from Big Jim. That stop, definitely not what he wanted, but he still has half the race left to try and rebound and try and get that lead back. And it'll be interesting to see, though, with that adjustment now put back to where it was at the start of the race for Big Jim. We'll see how he plays this now. It's going to be a little bit tighter, and maybe he had pulled away because of the looseness on that 3 car in the last run. So I believe this time by, as yes, all the lap down cars have pitted, it looks like. Tango coming off pit road along with everyone, so Jesse's still on pit road. I don't know if that was a penalty or if he has lagged out. That car's still moving, so I have to assume, yeah, maybe it was a penalty. But right here, this should be the choose lap. KD leading it. They'll choose at the start-finish line, inside or outside, and then we'll go green next time by. So they pit with 50 to go. This is 49 to go, and they'll restart with 48 to go. KD choosing the bottom, Big Jim choosing the top, BKR also choosing the top of the 11, and Arrow will gain a chunk of spots. Came into that restart, came into this 5th. He'll restart 3rd in the 48. Dirty Boy also taking the bottom, moves from 6th to 5th. Brennan was 4th and moves back to 6th in the 9. Allen taking the top. Jesse going to give his lap back in the 15 as he pitted there, so he was still a lap down. So Jesse will stay 1 lap in the rears. We'll be hoping for a yellow at some point in this final segment to try and get the lucky dog the free pass. So here we go. Restart with, I think, 48 to go. We'll have to see who gets the break right here. We'll have to see if that outside choose for the 9 works out. We'll have to see how the inside works out for Arrow. Gained 3 spots off that one from 6th to 3rd. We'll have to see how Arrow likes it in the 40 as they come down to the restart zone. KD leading, Big Jim in second on the front row. We're back to going in a very, very solid restart for everyone there. It was kind of very, very orderly there. KD takes the bottom through 1, 2, easily clears the 3. Big Jim in line with a nice run off turn 2, a nice rotation. Gets off too well, gets to the outside of KD down the backstretch. Arrow clears in 3rd in the 48. The battle for 4th, Dirty Boys inside of, it looks like BKR. But the battle for the lead, Big Jim to the outside of KD in turns 3 and 4. Brendan going to lose the spot to Allen, so that outside pick for 6 did not work out for the 9 car. Still wheel to wheel, door to door for the lead. Arrow looking to step out 3 wide. Big Jim on the outside, KD on the inside. Big Jim wider, the 18 around the curbs. Clears for the lead. Big Jim looking for a run on corner exit. As they race down the backstretch, Arrow looking on the 48, looking for 2nd. The 3 looking up for the lead. They all stay in line for now. The 3 with a late move to the curbs. Gets up wide, keeps off of anyone around him. Arrow looking to clear for 2nd in the 48. Arrow gets the wall. Dirty Boy and BKR shoot down to the inside. BKR 3 wide to get to 3rd in the 11. Let's see if he can try and keep that move made. On corner exit off to BKR for 3rd place. And what was a 3 wide move after we saw Arrow get to the outside wall on turn number 4. Arrow still fighting back though on the outside. But BKR, who has definitely been one of the top 3 cars here today, he'll move out to 3rd place once again. Keeps off the wall. Arrow moved back to the inside but didn't have the legs to do it. Oh, does he? BKR able to keep that 3rd spot. He drove it in deeper. Arrow led off to try and get a better run off. Here comes Dirty Boy and Brennan right behind them. Dirty Boy right now 5th, Brennan in 6th, right where he restarts. Obviously that 9 car choosing the outside. Row number 3 was not what was needed on that restart to try and move forward. Worked out well for Arrow, who had moved up to 3rd for a little bit there. Big Jim hit the wall on the exit of turn 2. Allowed BKR to close and allowed KD to pull away a little bit. So what we've seen, that 3 definitely the one to look out for on the shorter run. But the 18, if it's a longer run and that car's set up for the longer run, looks like the 18's a little bit better. Big Jim does not like the tighter race car at this stage. And BKR might move by him here in the 11. Big Jim might let him go and will. So Big Jim not liking the way his car's handling, especially on exit of turn 2. That was almost 2 straight laps. He put it in the outside safer barrier. BKR up to 2nd. What can he do with the race leader? The 18 of KD. Of the front 3, the 11, the only one to not score a victory so far this season. Also look out for Arrow in 4th. He has not scored a victory, but he is currently 3rd in the points. As currently the race leader is 9 behind the points leader of Dirty Boy, who currently is right now in the 5th position. Has been around 4th to 6th all race long for Dirty Boy. And for KD, he's been 1st or 2nd pretty much all race long in that 18 car. Speaking of that 18, BKR is closing in, so I think the 11 a little bit better at this stage than the 18. And Big Jim, that car, you know, he tightened it up, maybe able to start coming alive here in a few laps and the 3 might be able to pounce back up, make it a 3-car race, but kind of like what we saw at the beginning of the first half, where the front 5 or 6 were within the same second and a quarter of each other, but then as the run progressed, once we got about 15 laps on the tires, these drivers started to fade off each other, and that's when the front 3 were able to pull away. At this stage, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars still within the same camera shot. There they all are. That is great stuff. And Allen, the highest he's been all night, right now in the 7th position. Doing a nice job. Was very quiet the first segment, just kind of finished it out, but now looking to attack in this second segment. As these front 3, man, they've been the class of the field. They've been great to see. At one point, the 18's faster. The next point, the 11's faster. The next point, the 3 is faster. As we have a battle for the lead. BKR stepping out on KD for the top spot. Big Jim waiting in 3rd. Arrow waiting in 4th. Arrow sends it up the inside, but the 3 and the 18 gets the spot from Big Jim. Can't get it from KD, but it's BKR now out in front in Gateway. But what a move it was for Arrow. Up the gut on the inside is now the 18 of KD's not done. Back to the inside, BKR. Gets a shot from the 48 up in the 11. 3 wide to the bottom for Arrow. What a move up the inside. Arrow sends the 18 up in the 11, trying to make it stick on the inside. There's still 3 wide for the lead entering turn 3. BKR able to clear the 18, able to clear the 48, who sends it in deep again. Big Jim trying to get 3rd back in the 3 car. BKR trying to get away in the 11. Dirty Boy stacked up, looking on the outside of Arrow for 4th. Brennan and Allen look on 7th, 6th, and 7th. Arrow, Dirty Boy, side by side for 4th. Arrow on the inside, Dirty Boy, the points leaders on the outside. Dirty Boy sees 2nd in points, KD up in 2nd, just 2 cars in front of him. He wants to clear that 48 badly. Arrow sends it in deep, trying to keep that 4th spot. That allows Brennan the inside of Dirty Boy for 5th. Dirty Boy does not want to fall back because he sees KD still up there with a shot to win it. Dirty Boy, though, into the safer barrier. Brennan should be able to clear right there in the 9, but he didn't get into the gas like I thought he would on corner exit. But Brennan still drives in deep to the bottom of turn 1. Maybe use the 10 up a little bit right there, but Brennan does move to P5. And KD lurking back onto the back bumper of BKR. KD not letting that 11 get away. And Big Jim not letting the front 2 get away. Arrow as well, still closing him. He's very aggressive on braking, corner entry. That's where he gains all his time. KD, look at that run off he's going to have. As BKR got wide, KD back in the gas sooner, able to keep the car pointed down. And these 2 still bound for lead to turn 1. You'd think with how these 2 are battling that it was, 10, 15 to go in the race. Besides that, we have another pit stop and there's 37 to go. So, it's not quite the end of the race yet. These front 4 racing like it. They've been packed like this, about half a second apart. As BKR again moves out on KD. These 2 are relentless with passing each other. Arrow on Big Jim. 4 cars under a blanket. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if they keep doing this, it's going to be 7 cars under a blanket. As you have Brennan, Dirty Boy, and Allen not that far back. And the 9, the 10, and the 88. It's just one of those races where if you're the people that have been running at the front, you're just waiting for it to possibly expand out to where your cars get better, the cars behind you start to fade out. But is that going to happen in this run? Will the cars spread out like they did in the first half, or will we get something different? Will these 7 or 6 or 5 stay together? KD a better launch off for there. BKR got very loose in the 11, had to lift out of the gas or else he was going to wreck. And here comes Big Jim to his inside, wanting 2nd, and Arrow wanting 2nd as well from 4th place. BKR keeps that spot from Big Jim for now. Big Jim now has his hands tied with Arrow in the 48. Arrow is going to make a move, but thought better of it. He stays in line behind the 3 for now. We're going to be getting to a point now where you might want to try an undercut. It's going to be about 48 laps. If you split it in half, that's about 24. I'd expect to see some of the same strategies that we saw last stage, where the race leaders, as the front 3 now, you can see they're starting to gap a little bit off of Arrow and Dirty Boy and Brennan and Allen. But the front 3, if they get a gap, they might stay a little bit longer again. But the question is, Dirty Boy, that move he pulled in the first half of this race, where he pitted with about 30 laps until that caution flag was going to come out. Will Dirty Boy do something like that again? Will he pit with 30 to go? Who pits at the midway point? 24 to go, 25 to go. And who decides to stretch it out as long as they can to get down to about 15 to go, 16 to go, to when they have to pit? it's going to be something to watch out for throughout this whole race, this whole final half. Pit strategy is going to be what you look out for, and look out for the 11 and the 18 again. They're back again side by side into turn 3. It just seems like every time I think KD or BKR is pulling away from the other, the next lap, the other gets it right back. BKR moves back out in front in Gateway, with KD still in his bumper in second, and Big Jim also not that far back in third. KD will get back in line that time. If they went side by side again to turns 1 and 2, I mean, I would have had something to say about that. I mean, they've been side. Oh, KD's got loose. You can see the 18 there really loose off turn number 2. He'll give up a spot, maybe 2, as Arrow moves to his outside. The 48 looking for third. So what was possibly maybe a race-winning day, and back-to-back for KD, who won last race at Watkins Glen, now in a fight for third, and they've made some contact with Arrow for that spot. But the 18 moves back up to P3. Now Big Jim in second behind BKR, who leads in the 11. These laps are winding down. They have 31 to go, 30 to go at the start-finish line, so we're nearing the point to where you'd split the stage in half if you've hit. We'll see if anyone wants to try that. Now the question is, what can Big Jim do with BKR, and can BKR try and keep it? I was very interested because at the end of the last half, or the end of the first stint, I guess you could say, the 11 did not look the strongest. In fact, remember, he let the 18 and the 3 go to let them get to first and second, and the 11 fell back to third on that, as the yellow is actually out. So caution is out. There was a crash somewhere around this racetrack which collected 2 race cars, and now this is going to be their pit stop. This will be their pit stop. It might come earlier than some people wanted. You now know you're going to have to go about 28, 29 laps on these tires. We'll have to see. See Jesse getting his lap back there. He was the free pass position, but pit road should be open this time by, and you'll expect everyone to come down pit road, get those 4 tires, get the field to make it to the end. You can make it from here. Every car is going to be on the lead lap. So now can Big Jim's pit crew try and rise to the occasion on this one? A 16-2 on the last stop. Obviously, KD's a lot better because he was able to pass him coming off pit road. We'll see if BKR's pit crew can do the job. We'll see if Big Jim's can try and step back up after the poor performance on the last pit stop and get him that lead back. And we'll have to see if drivers have learned from that first choose cone what they might do to try and choose this time. So into the pit boxes right here for all of our 10 drivers that are left in the race. Big Jim's crew this time at 15.8. That is about average, maybe a little bit below average, but it's about average. The 11 will obviously win the race off pit road. The 3 will maintain in second. KD in third. Arrow in fourth. Brennan's going to be fifth. Sixth was a close battle. That's either, I think Dirty Boy may have gotten it off of Allen, so Dirty Boy will be sixth. Allen will be seventh. But now, the interesting thing we saw last restart, where the 48 of Arrow was sixth at the choose mark and was third on the restart, which jumped him up a good ways. He was actually running third for a little bit there until he got passed, but he's maintained in fourth. I don't think he's been the fourth place car here today. I think Brennan and Dirty Boy have been a little bit better. Arrow's maybe been a fifth or sixth place car, but he's now in fourth, and he's maintained that track position because of the track position he gained himself. He gave himself that track position based off of what we saw with the choose. So I have to see with this choose who takes what, who takes the top, who takes the bottom, and who possibly gains some spots. So here we go. Around to the choose zone. The 11 will go top, the 3 bottom. 1848 dart bottom. This time, Brennan, instead of losing 2 spots, he'll go up to 4th in the 9 car. And Arrow, kind of contrary of last time, was set to restart 6th, ended up restarting 3rd. He was set to restart 4th, he'll restart 5th. He and Brennan switch positions. Allen will be 6th. He gains a spot off that because Dirty Boy chooses the inside in 7th. BKR is leading. He chose the outside, gives Big Jim the inside. KD also chooses bottom in the 18 car. So this will be an interesting one. So you have Big Jim in second on the inside. BKR on the outside is the leader. KD in third, also one to watch out for. He's been, these front three have been pretty much under a blanket. You get one of them out in front and, you know, they might be the one to win this race. So how aggressive will they be on this restart? Will this be the final restart is the question. We'll go green with about 28 to go in Gateway. We're back going. And a nice jump for BKR. Almost clears Big Jim to turn one and does clear Big Jim to turn one. So nice fight for BKR there. To the inside lane. Big Jim in second will slide in there. Dirty Boy way off into the grass there. He'll fall back to the back of the field. So our points leader in trouble. Back to last on the racetrack. That restart did not fare well for Arrow either. He's in a battle with AJ. Got passed by Allen. Brendan still ahead of him. Allen looking to get by Brendan as well. So the 88 has come alive on this restart. BKR still had a Big Jim in the 3 car. Brennan behind now Allen, who's behind KD, who moves up to third. Allen up to fourth, the highest he's been all night the first time. He's cracked the top 5. Brennan 5th. Arrow is 6th. AJ 7th. Tango in 8th. Jesse, who just got the free pass, is currently in 9th. Then 10th place. Last car on the track, Dirty Boy, who had issues on the restart. 3 Hendrick cars will go at it. Brennan to the inside of Allen. Looking on. It's Arrow in the 48, trying to stay patient. He'll go 3 wide to the bottom for 4th. Maybe some contact with the 9 into the 88. And there goes Arrow through to 4th. A gutsy move again. 3 right on the bottom for Arrow. Watch out for Big Jimmy's closing up onto the back of the 11 of BKR. Doesn't want that 11 to get away. 25 laps to go in this race. BKR, Big Jim, KD, they've been 1, 2, 3 pretty much all night long. You can throw a blanket over them at many points in the race. We'll have to see if it's going to be like that at the end. Can these front two try and get away? Because KD has a little bit of a gap to make up in the 18 car. Big Jim staying with BKR for now. 24 laps to go in Gateway. Battle back there still going on. Arrow trying to maybe be a little bit more defensive on Brennan, who looks to try and get that 4th spot. Brennan also up there in points. Same with Arrow. I think they might be bound for a points position, as Arrow is 3rd in points. Brennan only 4 points behind in 4th. So they're bound for 3rd and 4th in points right now. So they're rightfully going to be racing each other pretty hard. Once again, our race leader BKR has not won a race this season. 2nd and 3rd place, Big Jim, KD, have both won a race this season. Big Jim's won 2, Michigan and Charlotte. Think about KD looking to go back-to-back. Won at last race at Watkins Glen. 4th place Arrow's not won. 5th place Brennan has not won this season. So 3 of the front 5 have not won. 1 of them leads. The other 2 rounding out the top 5 in 4th and 5th. Big Jim had a little bit of a look there, but it didn't work out for him in the long run. The 3 stays behind the 11 by a few car lengths for now, but sometimes at Gateway, especially if you come down to the end, you might just want to be those few car lengths back. You maybe wouldn't want to be the race leader. With how much you have to get on the brakes in 1 and 2 and in 3 and 4, you can easily push the guy in front of you out of the way to take the win. Don't ask how I know that. I was the one getting moved. Right now, these front 2 look very equal. If I had to give an advantage to someone on the front 2, I'd maybe give it just a little bit to Big Jim, and it's not by much. I mean, the 3 just looks to be maybe a tick better, a skosh better. I don't even know if skosh might be too big of a measurement. A tick might be too big of a measurement. It's not much. He's better by if he is better. Now, Katie in 3rd hasn't really had a great going at it. In fact, Arrow in 4th is closing in. Brennan in 5th is trying to close in. They've pulled away from the battle for 6th, which looks to be 3 wide back there, as AJ and Dirty Boy are trying to work their way through the field. Dirty Boy especially has got to be angry after whatever happened on the restart. He just kind of shoved AJ a little wide there into the wall. Hard for Allen, who will lose spots off that. So for Allen, a great restart, moved up to 4th right there in the 88, but now he'll surrender a few positions, all the way back now to 10th, as Durbin was back up into the top 5. He was there most of the race. In fact, excuse me, he's back up to 6th now. Once again, Big Jim still just right onto the back of BKR, not gaining, but not losing either. But at some point, if you're that close on the last few laps, you might try bump and run. Especially if the pressure is coming on from behind. If KD starts to gain, if you're Big Jim, you might want to give the bumper to the 11, because he might be the one holding you up. The battle for 3rd. KD getting a little bit roughed up by Arrow. 18 able to hold it for now for 3rd. Arrow in 4th. In 5th place, it is Brennan in the 9. Sixth is now Dirty Boy, after making a bold move in 3 and 4 a lap ago. And also for these racers, you have to know that the time does wind down here pretty fast. These laps aren't that long around this racetrack, so you know, and just like that, this race could be over. You run 32-second lap times, 20 to go, 18 to go now. It's about 10 minutes until we get to the end of this thing. That's if we don't get any more yellows, though. Right now, I don't think we will. The pack decently spread out. You got this pair at the front. BKR starting to extend it over Big Jim a little bit. You have Katie in third. In fourth place is Arrow. So right now you got the pair 1 and 2, and then the pair 3 and 4. And fifth place, Brendan just kind of looking on that pair in front of him, hoping that they hit each other, make some mistakes, and he can try and pounce through. There's the 9. Not terribly far behind those two, but far enough back to where he wouldn't be able to make a move. There is Big Jim looking for a way to catch that 11 of BKR, who's pulled up just a little bit of a gap, but that's a gap that he needs. That is basically to where, if I'm Big Jim, I would not want to send it in that hard into the corner for a race victory. So I think if he's closer, he would definitely try the bump and run late in this race. But if you're a few car lengths back, you wouldn't want to throw it in like that and win a race like that. We'll just have to see. 15 to go at the line. Jim again enters a little bit higher, keeps it higher all throughout the corner. I wonder if that got him a run down the front at all. Doesn't look like it did. If it did, maybe just a slight run, but not enough to gain the time back that he lost from that, I don't think. They stay pretty much equal. BKR maybe just a little bit better at this stage in the race. You have to think, what can Big Jim try and do here in these final now 14 laps in the line to try and close this out with another victory? And what can BKR do to try and fend him off and goes for his first win of the season in the 11 car? 14 laps to go in the Byron Sucks 100 at Gateway. I don't know if it's ironic or what that the Byron car is the only one that's on pit road and out of the race because of lag issues. I mean, it was just fate meant for it to happen, I guess. It looked like a better 3 and 4 that time for Big Jim. Close up just a little bit into 11 on BKR, but once again, not too much. I think Big Jim really good into and entrance of the middle of the corner. But corner exit, it looks like BKR can just get off the corner a lot better and kind of gains that time that Big Jim gained back. Big Jim can really sail it off into the corner nicely. Doesn't lose much brake, and BKR though might be on that brake hard to try and get off the corner better. And with a dozen laps to go, time is running out for Big Jim and anyone behind him. So obviously KD has pulled away a little bit from Arrow. They're right now third, fourth, Brennan in fifth, but KD still go ways back behind the front two. He would need them to tangle for him to have a shot at this race victory. That's a shame for KD too, because he had been running top 2, top 3 pretty much all race long, and while he's still running top 3 now, he had been running top 3 to where he's been on top of the front two all race long. So a little bit of disappointment, I'm sure, for KD to see those front two so far ahead in the distance with 11 laps to go. Get down to the end of this one. 11 to go. We've seen 3 wide for the lead here. We've seen these two battle it out hard. And I'm sure if Big Jim and BKR are still this close to each other in the final laps, it's going to be one hell of a fight to the end of this one for sure. The Elite Racer Series presented by Double G Construction Roofing, Richmar Floors, and don't want to go away. It's just getting interesting. 10 laps to go. 10 to go at Gateway. Big Jim, a better run. It looked like that time off into turn 1. Didn't have a great turn 1 though. We'll see if he can try and get back on the exit of 2. I think he did lose some time there through 1 and 2. Looked like he messed up. He had a great run entering the corner. Got within range of BKR's bumper, but I think it's a little bit too early to use the bumper. I think that's the last 3 laps move or so. Maybe even the last lap move. Look at Big Jim, how aggressive he is on corner exit. Got right up to the safe barrier, had to turn it hard left and almost spun it out. That's how aggressive Big Jim is being. Trying to get to the 11 to beat care how hard these drivers are driving with 9 to go. Single digit laps to go and about 5 minutes to go. It's not long now until we see 5 to go, and then you see 3 to go, and then you're Big Jim and you're going, I might have to move him. Beat Car a little wide there, but I think he kept the momentum up. No, maybe not. Big Jim has a run. You can see Beat Car going defensive off into turn 1. Big Jim to the outside. Now, can he try and cut back under if these two keep down like this? If they keep slowing each other up. Beat Car wide again. Big Jim with a run to the inside to go on the 11. Side by side for the lead in the final 8 laps of this race. 7 to go at the line. The thing is, though, these two have been so equal this run. If Beat Car falls behind Big Jim, I don't think Big Jim will just leave him. Look at Beat Car running him so tight. Running him. Oh, he got into him. They're hitting down the front stretch. Still banging doors. 7 laps to go. KD is closing in so much. The 18 is there. The 11 able to keep it out in front of the 3 with 7 to go. KD is there. Has he saved some tires maybe? As these front two are battling, did they use up their stuff? Be care coming around to see 6 to go. These two had made contact all the way down the front stretch the last time by. Be car again wider through 3 and 4. Big Jim lower. The 3 will get to the inside again. This time by 6 laps to go in Gateway. Racing off to turn number 1, side by side. 3rd place KD looking on. Maybe with a little bit better tires as well because he hasn't been battling this whole run. KD again closing in as B car goes wide. Big Jim clears and the 3. Maybe not. Yeah, he is. KD now looking for 2nd. The 18 sends it off deep. B car sends it off deep on the outside, but the 18 on the inside powers through. B car coming back to him. KD slides. 5 to go for Big Jim. He opens up a gap as they battle for 2nd. He wants them to keep battling. B car clears for 2nd. And for Big Jim, that was a big lap as well. No more yellows in this race. You have it from here on out now. Big Jim leads. BKR in 2nd, KD in 3rd. Can the 11, the 18 run the 3 back down? Or does Big Jim have too big of a lead? We had seen the 11 fading off the last few laps. Is it going to continue that way? Can he try and find a rhythm from before the mistakes were happening? 4 to go. B-car definitely going to be giving that thing everything it has to try and get up to that 3 car. But at this point, Big Jim, I think, is just better. I have to see, though. I mean, what's the point of the run? I mean, this might be unknown territory for a few drivers. It might be the longest they've run on these tires, so tires start to wear out, start to get loose, corner exit. Who knows what can happen? 3 to go still. A good thing for BKR is he's giving Big Jim close enough to where Big Jim looks back, he sees that 11, he knows he can't make a mistake, and knowing that could force you into a mistake. So BKR, KD staying that close. That's what they need to do, but they need to gain as well. Big Jim's not known to make too many mistakes in that 3. Coming around to 2 to go this time by. 2 laps gone. I'm sure BKR just wishing he was 3-4 car lengths closer to try and make a move. But 2 to go for Big Jim, who's looking for his 3rd win on the season. I mentioned the last 2 came in late battles with Workman at Charlotte and at Michigan. This one also a late battle with BKR and KD. Looking for another win as BKR got very loose on corner exit. Drove it for all it's worth in 1 and 2. Driving it once again deep into 3 and 4. But coming to the white flag, BKR really wide from 2nd place. Might give that spot up to KD. One more time for Big Jim. He has a nice gap now as KD moves to 2nd. If you're Big Jim now, such a huge gap. You're not pushing it 100% now. You can just try and cruise it home. Don't have to push it that hard. You still have to push it decently hard, but not hard to where you're going to force yourself into a mistake. Down the backstretch for the final time. Big Jim missed a few races earlier on in the season. But since he started racing, he's come alive. Michigan, Charlotte, Gateway, 3 distinct racetracks. Big Jim's won all 3 this season. Checker flag is up. 3rd win for number 3. Big Jim gets it done at Gateway. KD second in points. Finishes in 2nd place. BKR gets 3rd. What a fight between those 3 all race long. Arrow will end up in 4th. Brennan in 5th. That's about for 3rd in points, remember. 6th place to Dirty Boy. Came in as the points leader. AJ 7th. Allen 8th. Jesse 9th. Tango 10th. And obviously we had Koala, who lagged out, get 11th. But what a battle those front 3 had all race long. So evenly matched between BKR, KD, and Big Jim. And at the end, I think Big Jim's car was just right. You know, he had tightened it up on some pit stops for the longer run, and it pays off. Big Jim, victory lane for the 3rd time this season. My gosh, it was a well-deserved one, that's for sure. I'll wait to see if we get any of the top 3 in here for post-race interviews. Obviously, we would love to hear from them, as they were all 3 running right with each other all race long. I don't think they ever didn't really see one or the other. I think all 3 are pretty much right with each other all race long. And there's the winner, Big Jim. Let me tell you, that last run, very entertaining from my perspective. I'm sure it was a lot more stressful for you, but take us through it, because you, the 11, and the 18 all had the best cars, the 3 dominant cars of the race, kind of like what we saw at Kroger, New Hampshire. But take us through that last run, because you and the 11 were battling, and then that brought the 18 into it.
Yeah, man, that was probably one of the most stressful races I've really done on this game, because Gateway inherently is not one of my better tracks. In Echo, I wrecked at the entrance of turn 1 and basically every single stage. So, yeah, I worked on it a little bit, did a little bit of practice, but stage 3, or I guess technically not stage 3, but that second stint, it was mostly between me, the 11, and the 18, and I think we were all pretty equal. There was a little problem with the 18 back there in 3rd, getting bumped around and all that. So it was me and the 11 out front for most of it, and we just had a heck of a race. I was using him as my rabbit. I was just trying to stay behind him and, use him for a little bit of guidance around the track. And he knew something I didn't, and I think I took that away from him later down, and I think that's probably what benefited me the most.
The 3 races you've won this season, you've been in some dramatic fashion, some late race battles, so should we start calling you the closer, maybe?
I mean, it would be an honor. I don't hate Kevin Harvick, but at the same time, Denny Hamlin is my boy. It hurt me to pass the 11 because, the 11's my boy. But, yeah, I hope we can continue that momentum going forward.
Yeah, 3 wins, and you haven't raced too many races. I know you missed the first few, so congratulations on the win, 3rd of the season. Fun one to watch for sure.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And we will move on to 2nd place KD, who I thought was going to steal it at the end. As those 2 were beating and banging down the front strips with 7 to go, I was like, man, KD's one to watch out for. What did you need in the final laps of that race to try and get to Big Jim to try and make that pass?
So when I was I was 2 seconds back with 10 to go or whatever, and I knew if they started battling, I was going to catch them. So they start battling, and I catch them like I thought I would. But then when I got there, I went to the 11th inside on the back straightaway with 5 to go or something. And I got really loose exiting 4 that same corner, and that killed both of our chances. So I'll take the blame for that. But I knew once I got loose out of 4 there, I knew it was over unless he made a big mistake up front. But it's still good to get 2nd. I mean, the 11 got loose out of 4 with 2 to go, and that gave me 2nd. But we had a top 3 car, so I mean, top 3, not much else I could ask for.
Yeah, you front 3 were pretty much equal all race long, so it was very fun to watch that. Congratulations on the 2nd. That's a good points day. Dirty Boy didn't fare as well as you. Still did well, but you should gain some points on him there.
Yep, thanks.
And we'll move on to 3rd place, BKR. I mean, that was as close as it could get, possibly. I mean, you two were beating and banging, 7 to go. Uh, did the car just start to fade off there at the end? It looked like you were starting to push a little bit, getting tight on corner exit, getting up towards the wall, and looked like Big Jim was able to hook the bomb a little bit better there in the 3.
Just too loose. Can't do anything with the controller. Just tap, tap, tap. Hope it doesn't spin out. So.
I feel that. I do feel that. This is definitely one of those tracks where that tire wear, man, it sends you for a ride. But you were a top 3 car all race long. Is there any consolation in the fact that you were basically that much ahead of the field, because you 3 had gapped the field basically every time there was a long run?
Just trying to run as fast as possible. I
There you
pushed
have
it too hard, I guess.
There you have it. That's a race car driver kind of motto. Push it hard, and sometimes it doesn't work out. Congrats on the 3rd. Obviously, it is disappointing losing it late, but it was a very good race out of you, and you're definitely one of the strongest ones out there.
Yeah.
I believe that is it. So, Brennan, you're in here. Next
Hi.
week's an off week, right?
Correct.
All right. So next week's an off week. 2 weeks time, though, we'll head to Indianapolis for that race. That should be a fun one. Long straightaways and tight corners. So we'll see how the Elite Racer Series drivers can go through that racetrack. But second race of the Tough Track Challenge in the book, and we've had 2 different winners so far, Tango and Big Jim. We'll see who can get it done in a few weeks' time at Mid-Ohio for the 3rd one, and then Darlington a few weeks after that for the last race of the Tough Track Challenge. I believe that's all we have from Gateway. A fantastic race, especially at the end there between the front 3 of the day, Big Jim, KD, and BKR. So thanks for watching the Elite Racer Series from Gateway, and until 2 weeks' time, we'll see you then.